Okay, let's get this started. Um, my name is Jonathan Rothschild. You're seeing me in my new role as a board member of Second Chance Tucson. I joined the board of Second Chance Tucson because of the so many good causes that are out there. One of the things that is going to be important to our community and to our revived economic health and to our cultural health is to assist justice involved individuals, citizens who have perhaps made a mistake that's involved them with the law and are looking to get back to society and, quite frankly, overcome some of the barriers that we've constructed. So I really welcome all of you for joining us today. We're having a great turnout. This is our 5th annual Second Chance Forum, talking about successful strategies for community reintegration. It's our 5th forum, our first virtually, as we're all participating in this world. The first thing that really we need to do is thank our sponsors, Arizona Complete Health and the Tucson Police Department. Both of them have contributed significantly to allow us to continue our work. So I want to just speak for a moment about what Second Chance Tucson does. Our focus is to reduce recidivism and help justice-involved individuals successfully reintegrate into the community. We hold community forums. We have volunteer days of service, essentially to increase community awareness about the challenges the individuals face coming back to the community. The other thing that we've done, which we've had significant success with and continue, is job fairs, which focus specifically on justice-involved citizens and returning citizens. Those job fairs connect job seekers with employment. Our organization consists of a coalition of faith-based, governmental, and nonprofit agencies, and over 40 employers who have joined the coalition to assist us. If you're an employer out in the audience today, we welcome you to the forum, but also really encourage your participation in the next job fair, which we'll be talking about at the end of this session. Through these events, we are able to serve over 700 people per year. So that's my pitch. I'm glad you're here. We've got a great program. You're going to hear about 3 very successful programs that we can ask questions about and model after. And we're going to give a couple awards out to rewarding program and employer of the year. So with that, let's get to our keynote speaker. Our keynote speaker is Brandon Smith with the Forestry and Fire Recruitment Program. He will tell you his story, so I don't want to tell you too much, other than that he is the co-founder and executive director of the Forestry and Fire Recruitment Program in Pasadena, California. He's been very busy lately, as I'm sure you're all reading about the fires in Southern California. The Forestry and Fire Recruitment Program is a nonprofit organization that provides career support to formerly incarcerated firefighters and those who are currently incarcerated in California's conservation camps who are interested in a career in the wildland and forestry sector. Brandon is an advocate for natural resources conservation. He's worked for 6 years, both in and out of fire camp as a wildland firefighter and a forestry technician. During that time, he assisted in projects such as meadow restorations, forest health, drought surveying, and working nationally with the U.S. Forest Service's Fire Behavior and Assessment Team. He's attended UC Berkeley and Victor Valley College's Wildland Academy, and Brandon has advocated for and supported the fire camp population since 2014. Before I turn the program over to Brandon, I want to tell you a little bit about how we're going to conduct both this portion of this program and then the other presenters. You have a Q&A box, and if you have questions, put them in that Q&A box. I'll be reviewing them in the course of Brandon speaking or while he's taking questions and answers, and for the other speakers. And we'll try to get to as many questions as we can during this session. If we do not get to your question, we will be keeping the questions, and we will try to get you answers. Either Brandon will get you an answer or the other speakers will get you an answer after the program. So please feel free to put them in the question and answer box. I don't know if you can see the chat box, but we're not going to be taking questions from the chat box, but from the Q&A box. So with that, I'm going to turn the program over to our keynote speaker, Brandon Smith. Let's give him a virtual applause. Brandon?
Thank you so much, Jonathan, sir, for that introduction. I want to start off by thanking the people at Second Chance Tucson for the invitation. I want to thank all of you all for being here today. I want to give a special shout out to my brother, Danny Ho, who's doing great work out there. And I want to say thank you. A quick disclaimer, I'm working from home today. And so right now I have my 3-year-old son watching number blocks, but he may come into the camera, so you may meet him today. Here we go. Lost in the wilderness. There we go. I remember being lost in the wilderness. It was April of 2012, and I was in the LA County Jail. I had just been sentenced to 3 years in prison. It was my 9th time incarcerated and 2nd prison term within 6 years. I was lost. I was hopeless. I remember going to a makeshift church service where folks were singing, reading scriptures, and I just sat in the back and just cried my heart out the whole time. And afterwards, a brother came to me and asked me, you know, are you all right? What's going on? And I just talked to him. And he just said, hey, come sit down and talk to me. So we sat and we talked for about 20, 30 minutes. And I remember during that time, he took one of the sandwich bags that they give lunch in, and he was twisting it, turning it, making it into twine. And at the end of the conversation, he had this cross and he gave it to me. And he said, never give up hope. Everything will work itself out and you'll be all right. A couple of months later, I find myself in the California Department of Corrections, inmate Smith, number AF7162, once again looking for some path, still lost. It was at that time that a prison counselor came and knocked on my 6x9 cell door and asked me, do you want to go to fire camp? Would you be interested in help putting out the wildfires in California? At first I said no. I remember being a child and watching Backdraft and telling my mother, I don't know what I'm going to do, but a firefighter ain't it. That is not happening. But I talked to a couple of people on the tier. I talked to a couple of the porters. And what I ended up learning was that taking this job would be the highest paying job while incarcerated. I'd make $1.50 a day plus $1 an hour, compared to making 30 cents a day working in the kitchen or as a porter. I'd be closer to my family. They'd make sure to send me closer to home. I was currently about 7-8 hours away from my family, hadn't seen them in months. The best hope was that they'd come see me once or twice a year, compared to me being 45 minutes away where they can see me every weekend and bring in food. I'd have access to the community. I'd be outside, and I'd get an extra third off of my time. I said yes. With all my fears, I said yes. It was the best option. Lo and behold, or little did I know that that would be the most trying but most blessing next 2 years of my life. So a couple of months later, I end myself up in fire camp, and I'm working with Caltrans, the local highway maintenance agency, and we're doing projects up and down the state, clearing up brush, cutting down trees, making the freeways more accessible. I've been doing this for a couple of months now. And then all of a sudden, a siren comes out on the radio. Beep, beep, first alarm. We have a fire in Idlewild, calling crew one, helicopter one, engine one, report here, possible structures threatened. Whew. All right, I'm good. I'm on crew two. All right, I'm good. Lord, please don't let them call us. Second alarm. Beep, beep, Idlewild fire. We need crew one. Crew two. We need engine two. We need helicopter two. Here we go. My first fire. I'm nervous. We hop into the fire truck. I'm praying, Lord, please keep all of us safe, but really, please keep me safe. So as we disembark from my fire truck, the adrenaline turns on, and here we go. I swear it's like a scene out of the Avengers. All of these firefighters, helicopters, engines, us folks from different agencies, professional folks, we're all coming together with one common goal. Let's put this fire out. We're working 20 hours into the fire all night, a whole 24-hour shift. The fire's not out, but we've accomplished our goal for the day. It's time to go rest. And so as we go rest, I hop back into our fire truck. And as we're coming down the freeway, I'm starting to see all of these signs. Thank you, firefighters. Thank you all. And I realize they're talking to me. It's families, it's kids, it's parents, it's teachers, it's the mayor. And they're all saying, thank you for helping to save our community. What I later realized was what I thought was a couple of structures was we saved a whole town, a residence of 10,000 people just in working that shift that night. It became clear to me at that moment. I bowed my head and I said, thank you, Lord, because that light in the wilderness had become more clear. I had found a path. I wanted to be a professional firefighter once I came home. I paroled home in 2014 and hit the ground running. I went to every fire station, applied to different fire jobs. I was talking to different fire staff. How can I do this once I come home? No one had done this before. No one had become a professional firefighter that I had known or that any of us had known once they were incarcerated in fire camp. Luckily, I had a support system. I had my family. I had my friends. I had my church family. My parole officer was cool. He didn't laugh at my dream. I had people who were giving me odd jobs here and there to keep me financially stable. I had my wife. I had my daughter to live for. And so after 16 months, I finally found a pathway. 2015 was my year of change. In May of 2015, I graduated the fire academy. In June of 2015, I finally discharged parole. In July of 2015, I had my first fire call working as a volunteer with the U.S. Forest Service. And I remember that day so vividly. It was 95 degrees in Big Bear. It's my first fire working professionally, but now I'm seasoned. I have all of the experience. This isn't my first rodeo. We head to the fire. I'm part of the chainsaw team and we're cutting down the trees and the brush. And all of a sudden I hear my name being called. Smitty, Smitty. That's what they used to call me while I was incarcerated. And lo and behold, I look and who do I see? Batista, crew one. Batista, crew two. The same fire camp and crew that I was on 2 years ago, with some of the folks still incarcerated, are on the same fire that I'm on. It's at that moment that I knew that I had to be a support system for someone else. I had to be the resources that so many other people provided for me because a lot of people don't have these types of resources when they come home. And so that's when I decided to start FFRP. And so with my story and in this forum today, we think about what does all this mean? What does reentry mean? A lot of people in these communities start off lost in the wilderness, just like me. People need to have hope. People must have hope. And in order to have hope, we must be the light. So I think back to my story, me being lost in the wilderness. And I think, where did this light start to grow? I remember sitting at the table when the brother made me that makeshift cross. No lie, I still wear it today. I remember praying, being incarcerated in CDCR and getting the opportunity to become a professional firefighter. And that light grew. I remember coming home, and people supporting me and me finding a path out of the wilderness. So when we look at reentry, what can we do? We can be the light for other people. We can help instill hope in other people. We often say second chances, but we need to realize when we talk about second chances, we're talking about multiple chances. I look at myself, it was my 9th time incarcerated in 6 years. So many people could have given up on me, but they didn't. Help people find a belonging, find a purpose, find a light to help them navigate the wilderness. I knew that I wanted to become a professional wildland firefighter, and that helped to direct my path. Grow our compassion, grow your compassion. Understand that people are people and we all live with the human condition. We all go through things and struggles. We're all a product of how we're raised. And so have understanding and love for one another, regardless of where we come through. You can support others. You can be the light, be a better advocate. In whatever work you do, be a better advocate, whether that's working in a legislative work, be a connector of resources. If you're working in programming, help folks out. If you're working in social work, be a better social worker. Develop creative solutions. When we developed FFRP, nothing like this had been done before. And so we weren't trying to do what when we talk about reentry, there's lots of organizations doing a lot of the same thing. Be comfortable looking outside the box. And then lastly, collaborate. Realize that none of us can do this all alone. So quickly, about us, FFRP, what do we do? FFRP is the Forestry and Fire Recruitment Program. We're a nonprofit organization comprised of people who were formerly incarcerated in fire camp who transitioned over as firefighters professionally. So what do? We go back to all the fire camps and we let folks know our stories, and we go help them out and we tell them that you can do it. And we help them to develop resumes and give them access to jobs before they get released. We also operate a workers hub. So once folks come home, we help them to dial in their resumes. We help them to apply for all of these jobs because most of them are online. We help them with the interview process. We take them to local fire stations, and the fire world is mainly about who you know, so networking. We also have a pre-apprenticeship program. We have a fire prevention crew doing forest thinning work. I call them doing grave projects, defensible space, fire prevention, post-fire cleanup. And lastly, a lot of you all know the great news, or decent news rather, out of California. Gavin Newsom signed AB 2147, allowing the expungement of certain crimes for people who were sent to fire camp. And so starting 2021, we're gonna start helping people out with their expungements and the AB 2147 process. So lastly, coming from April 2012, a situation where I was lost in the wilderness and found the light and the path, where am I today? I'm a husband. I've been married for 4 years. I am a father of 2 children. My daughter is 10. My son is 3. I'm an advocate for all people. I am the director of FFRP. I'm still a firefighter. I'm a firefighter supervisor and fire behavior specialist. I've been blessed to meet and develop leadership skills with great people with the Leading with Conviction program and Unlock Futures. So blessed to be a part of First Family Zion Church in Pasadena, where I help them out with community outreach. And I always say, if there's no struggle, there's no progress. My contact information, my personal contact information is here. Feel free to email me. I'm learning Twitter. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, FFRP. Our information is here. Feel free to contact us. Any questions you all have, I'm here. Thank you all. It's been a blessing to share my story with you all. And I will leave it at that.
Okay. Brandon, thank you very much for that. A great story, an inspirational story. We've got a whole series of questions, so we'll see if we can get it through as many of them as we can. If you want the slideshow, I'm sure if you email Brandon at forestryfirerp.org, he can get it to you, or any further contact. Also, we are recording this forum, so if you see anything in the course of the forum, just get to our website, which we will get to you later in the program. We've got a whole bunch of questions, Brandon. I don't know if we're going to get to them all, so I'm going to start with this one because it comes from one of the attendees here today. And it's this. After a decade of incarceration and 3 years fighting fires for Arizona Department of Corrections and Forestry, I developed a love for the trees and our environment. And I've been a productive member of society for 7 years. I'm a licensed arborist and a certified tree climber specialist, which allows me to train other individuals. I'm a huge supporter of the Second Chance program and have offered employment to many young men being released from prison. My dream is to acquire enough equipment and study materials to operate a fully staffed tree company that focuses on training these individuals before and after being released from prison. There's an amazing demand for men and women who possess the skills needed to be successful in the arboricultural industry. The question, how would I move forward with funding and staffing such a project? And I guess to put it in summary, my question as I was listening to you, how'd you do this? How did this happen? Or how can someone else do it?
And thank you for that. As you were reading the question, I was like, are you talking about me? But so first and foremost, I think it's first of all, thank you for the work and the service that you've been doing. Strong work, strong work. I would say it's great for you to have this idea and this dream. And I'd say first and foremost, just don't give up. When we were developing to get FFRP like to this place, like it's literally taken us about 4-5 years to go get it together. But on a directive space, I would say, number one, I would think about a viable business model, like just straight up. I wouldn't get too much into the semantics of if this is a nonprofit or not, or you know, how to get the grants and all of that. I would first start off by just setting up the sheer business model. Like, I'm not sure if you're running this as a business yourself, or if you're working for other folks who have a business. But one of the things I would start with is creating a business model. And what does this look like? You know, what would it look like if you had one crew of 4 or 5 people? It sounds like you have some of the same experience. So I would say like span of control. So like, what if you had one mod going out, like you and 3 other people? What would that look like? How much would you charge? What materials would you need to get you off the ground, right? And then take that. And I think another interesting part is to think collaboratively. One of the things that we did with FFRP is, I love in the question that you mentioned, in reality, this is a workforce development opportunity. And throughout the country, we're having a conversation about new ways to get people into this space, you know, especially when you're talking about green jobs, environmental stuff. Wildfires are just as much an issue for you all in Arizona as they are for us. I would say you can look at similar models that do different types of work. So for example, in Louisiana, there's an organization called Operation Restoration that does similar work, where like, I believe they do something where like they get contracts and they like clean out, they do like cleaning and landscaping work for government agencies. So I think there's a lot of different opportunities. And then also I would say, talk to your local workforce development board, local nonprofits who are doing workforce development opportunities, and go from there. So I would say first look at it as a business model and see what it looks like from there. And I wouldn't start off trying to go big. I would start off small and see how you can do it on your own, and then bring folks in and see how they can support. Because, you know, if you're taking folks formerly incarcerated, folks have funds that can go help them out with that. There's just so much. And the short answer, let's talk privately, because we can have like hours-long session with this. I would love to help you out with this.
I was going to suggest that, Brandon. I mean, you know, it'd be great to see something like that here in Southern Arizona, what you do here in Southern Arizona. Okay, next question. Other than today's event, have you done, which I'm sure is true, have you done other inspirational speaking? And I think specifically at correctional facilities or otherwise, what are some of the kind of places you try to go to get your message out?
Right. So because our focus is on the folks currently and formerly incarcerated in fire camps, a lot of the speaking I do is to people who are in camps. So the sad part is within California, there are 45 fire camps in the state. And so we go out to all of those and we speak. So that's one of the main places that we speak to is like the folks currently incarcerated in fire camp. Also, we talk to folks who are interested in like the workforce development conversation, because one of the sad things about our country is we are all heavily dependent on the use of incarcerated people as labor in some capacity. So speaking to people on that, and so yes, I go out to the different prisons and fire camps. Also speaking out with like different leadership organizations. I've spoken once or twice to some folks who are just like trying to learn about it, but I would recommend to, if you're trying to get your message out, talk to the people who are directly impacted by it. I would argue to talk to the naysayers. I like to talk to a lot of people who don't necessarily agree with what I'm speaking on and find ways for us to identify with common goals and go from there. And then lastly, this is my son Bradley. Lastly, I would say talk to the media and media things also.
A great answer. Okay, thanks, Brandon. Next question. What's been your biggest struggle with the system? I can't, I can't imagine that, they just always greeted you with a red carpet. What's been your biggest struggle with the system?
Biggest struggle with the system. So on a personal level, well, okay. I mean, when we say the system, there's so many systems, right? So I'll say this. So on a reentry stance, coming home. Now, like I said, I was blessed. My parole officer was cool. But struggles when it comes to okay, let me just be general and say struggles when it comes to perception, right? And when I say perception, it's like, folks have there's a stigma around formerly incarcerated people. And so how do we get people to start seeing that like formerly and currently incarcerated people are just that, like people? And so the resistance to that has been kind of not welcoming, specifically when it comes to fire. Stop, please, son. Specifically when it comes to fire, it's been said on record that California is like fire and correctional agencies. In this age of COVID, they had to release a lot of incarcerated people. And so a lot of those were the firefighters. And so you have people on record saying, why would you release these people knowing that we're going to need them when fire season comes up? And so like, it's a statement like that. It's like the irony is like, you'd rather keep people in prisons and risk their lives just so that you can have more firefighters as a preventative measure when you should have been handling the situation in the first place. It's just like kind of disrespectful. And so like I try to humanize that, like people are people. And I also, one of the things that I like to do when it comes to people with opposing visions is come to common goals and see how we can build off that.
All right. And sort of an accompanying question, the other side of that question, I guess, what's been one of your most creative solutions? What's one of the things that you kind of, I think you talk at some point about being creative. What's one of the things that you were able to do that overcame a hurdle?
So me personally is just saying, not taking no for an answer. I think in order for me to transition over into this whole space, I had to be creative. When you look at 16 months of keep getting the doors shut on you post release, a lot of people could have given up. And so you have to go get creative. So like when they said, all right, look, like the trainings that you had while incarcerated don't work. Okay, fine. I'm going to go take all of my classes and trainings all over again in a wildland firefighter academy. And you can't tell me that I can't go to college. So bam. Oh, you say, oh, well, I can't really hire you because you don't have the experience. Well, okay, well, I'm going to circumvent that. And I'm going to go hop on a volunteer crew first professionally and then transfer over so you can see my work ethic. When it comes to the organization FFRP, so we transitioned from a fully volunteer-led organization. We were paying out of our own pockets. It even messed up my credit a bit, but I'm blessed now. Transition into a full-fledged sponsored organization. And how we did that was we started partnering and we got creative with folks. Like this whole thing about talking to workforce development boards, you know, like how our process works right now. So LA County temporarily pays a certain number of hours of employment for our participants to hop into our Wildland Firefighter Academy. And then they also sponsor a certain amount of work for on-the-job training. And then after that, they work with us in our fee-for-service model, and we transition them into fire. So theoretically, they're with FFRP from 6 to 16 months until they're fully firm on their feet, and then we get them into fire. So all of that came together by partnering with different organizations. Like, okay, well, I can cover them for 3 months. I can cover them for 2 months. What can you do? You can sponsor this, you know, and get creative. I was blessed to be partnered up with my church, who ended up donating us a space so that we can have our training center at a very low discounted price, you know. And so it's bringing folks together. Our social work component, we partner with another community-based organization that was already great in doing supportive services. So now they just handle all the supportive services, right? We may not all have to do it all. You know, do what you do well. Don't take no for an answer, and partner with other people.
Okay. Yeah, persistence and partnerships, especially, both very important. I had seen in the chat room where it wasn't so much a question as a response to one of the questions about funding that could be available for that first person's question. And they had referred to Chicanos por la Casa and some of the other small business funds. Hopefully we can get that um, to the person who asked the question. Then there was another question about what we may have in Arizona, and we have an answer, but also a question. Arizona uses incarcerated men and women as firefighters throughout our state. Okay, so that's part of the first answer. Would it be possible for you to speak to Arizona Department of Corrections and the incarcerated firefighters about the possibilities for employment in this field when they are released, and about implementing the benefits you mentioned, such as shortened sentence time? So it sounds like you've got another speaking gig, but
Bless. Thank you. More than happy to. Thank
yeah.
you for the offer.
Yeah, so we'll get you in contact with Kim, who asked the question, and it'd be great to get that out there. Let's see what else we've got here. You guys are really responding well to this. Yeah, and that's kind of the next question. Do you have any thoughts about making FFRP a multi-state or national nonprofit organization? Arizona specifically, since there is a firefighter program here, and this is from Pinal County. Pinal County would be interested in your work. So I guess the question is, would you look in the future to the capacity of taking this out of Southern California?
Yes, and thank you all for these questions. It's such a blessing. So FFRP, we are currently exploring what this looks like in other spaces. So I would love to have a conversation with you all. We're exploring, because right now we are currently based strictly in Southern California. So we're looking at in Northern California. And I also know Washington, the state of Washington and Oregon do this as well. So I would love to have a conversation with you all about what this looks like, whether it be just support, consulting, or expanding what is already built and just helping you all out. We're available in any capacity. Thank you.
And, geographically, Southern Arizona is closer to you than Northern California. Just so you know.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. So here's a question. When you started out, what legal barriers were in your way, and what barriers remain?
Sorry. Put this in a cup form, please. So the legal barriers. So the first legal barrier that I had in attempting to get the job was having a clear understanding of my background and how to explain that. And so, like, for example, I tell folks, I've never got denied from a background check so quick. Like, I once got a job offer, and as soon as I sent in my background check, they called me right back and was like, no, you're not going to get hired. So it wasn't until like I talked to a lawyer and like figured out how to explain my whole situation. Like, yes, I was in prison, but I was in camp because I was low level. Here's what I've been doing since I came home, all this. So that's one thing. Secondly, in getting offers with fire, federally or with local agencies, depending on the agency, but a lot of fire agencies will not allow you to get a job if you are on probation or parole. And, you know, that's because when you speak about wildfires, you have to travel. Like down here, we have like a 50-mile radius when you're on parole that you can only stay in. So like if you get out of that area, you know, it's violating. And so they won't hire you because when you hop on fires, like I have to go to Arizona. Folks from Arizona come here all the time. And so you have to be able to go like different places, and what that is. And then also while you're doing that work, a lot of folks don't want to deal with having to check in with probation parole officers. Like when I was on the volunteer crew, they almost kicked, well, not me, but one of my partners, Royal Ramey, they almost kicked him off because he had to get in contact with his supervisor had to get in contact with his parole officer like every other day. And it was like, that was kind of unfeasible for us to do. So there are barriers like that. Once you hop into the career, there are more extenuating barriers. There's a platform level that people can get to. There are challenges with EMTs in the state of California. You need 7 to 10 years after you are completely done with supervision, probation, or parole before you can even apply. And there's still a 98% chance that you're not going to get it. And so there's that type of barrier. And so when you're talking about being like, so for me, like I'm not an EMT, so I can't promote to, if I were to stay in the fire agencies, I technically couldn't currently promote to a supervisor, like a captain or a engine operator or a chief, because I didn't have that fire certification. I'm sorry, as you can see, my world is going all kind of crazy right now.
All right, but the questions just keep pouring in, Brandon, and we only have a few more minutes. I'm just going to try to kind of grab a few that are important and maybe read some of these to you. But here's one. You keep coming back to don't give up, but I also hear you saying don't take others' resistance personally. Could you say more about how you keep things non-personal?
Right. And I was really blessed to be in this leadership training seminar given by an organization called Just Leadership USA. And it goes back to my earlier point that like we all have to understand that people are people and that we all have like the human condition. Like not to say that like we're like born and raised a certain way, but our own individual experiences shape our backgrounds. Right. So it's like so when like people who like oppose folks being previously incarcerated hopping into this space professionally, like I would like, I'm mad that you think that way, but when I talk to you, I'm gonna ask you, why do you feel that way? And then the person may say, hey, well, that's because, you know, I don't want you all to break into my house. And it's like, okay, so what you're actually saying is this is a public safety issue that you're having. Okay, cool. And you know what, ma'am, I actually agree with you. Firefighting is a very like high respectable public safety job. And like our ultimate thing is public safety. That's why like one of the things I do is this and this and this and start to like build bridges with people so that we can all understand. I think, you know, honestly speaking, and especially with the country, the world, the political spectrum we live in today, right? There's so many people extremely divided. We have to start finding ways that we can identify and come together with each other and build from that. So like, I don't take it personally. Like I might get mad at you and, you know, I'm gonna try to have a conversation with you and either, you know, we're gonna make it happen or if we don't.
Okay,
And either way, I'm still with my mission.
great. So I'm gonna take one more question for you. Then I'm gonna read a few to you just so you get the sense of what we're going to get to you. If we don't get to your question and it's something that Brandon can get to you with you offline, like we have one, can you get in touch with Pima County Reentry Coalition? I'm sure Brandon will be able to do that. So we'll hook all those up. But here's another one. What other jobs do you believe that formerly incarcerated individuals are naturally drawn to or could be drawn to? And it, yeah.
So I think naturally it's hard because it depends on the person. But I think what it is like people just need to find purpose. And one of the big things I think nationally that we need to have a conversation with is how do we utilize the trainings and the skills that people receive while they're incarcerated so that when they come home, they can really, really utilize those skills, right? It's like, yeah, it's cool if you train somebody to be a barber, but if they can't be a barber when they come home because of licensing issues, then it's whatever. Like, yeah, somebody may not like to be a cook or like, you know, in the mass production line at the prison, or like they may not, you know, yeah, they just doing the cleanup crew, but like maybe you can put some curriculum in there that they can identify with and take something from that and use that skill when they come home, like something like that. But I think folks formerly incarcerated are driven to jobs where they feel valued and where they feel purpose. If you can get them something like that, something and a job, so value, purpose, family winning wages, not just family sustaining wages, but family winning wages, and then something to where like, you know, like they feel proud of it, any sector. And you can start building that while they're incarcerated. I felt proud to do the work that I did while I was incarcerated. That helped to shape my future.
All right, Brandon. Well, you are connecting. I mean, we got a great committed community to this issue, but you are connecting. I've still got 13 open questions, and probably we ought to just sit here and do yours, but we got other things we got to do. But I'm going to make sure, and that our committee is going to make sure that you get all these questions, because some of them really, you know, ask other for other connections and way to make other connections. I just want to read a couple of what you're doing here today. Hi, Brandon. Thanks so much for telling your inspirational story. I wish you all the best. I also hope you're able to get your story out to other formerly and currently incarcerated individuals. I have seen that role models are the most powerful form of hope. And then from another, sounds like you have a great sense of direction, taking lemons and turning them into lemonade, never giving up. You would be such a fantastic model for others. So I think that's probably a great place to end, just in terms of what you've done for this audience. But we've got questions about connecting on creating a nonprofit street newspaper. We've got questions about a comment from people that are with the Arizona Department of Corrections and what they do with firefighters. Questions about if there are other barriers strictly to firefighters. And so we'll get all this to you. But again, I want to thank you for a great half hour that just passed way quicker than a lot of them do. And so I know you're going to stay with us throughout the program, and I'll leave it up to the people behind the machines, but maybe we can get to, you can stay on a little bit later and talk to some people individually. So, all right, Brandon, I want to thank you. And again, give you the virtual applause.
Thank you all. Blessings. Thank you all for the invitation, and thank you all. I'm always available.
Thanks, Brandon. Thanks for being with us. All right, so now we're going to present our first award of the day. It is the Brad Lancaster Second Chance Outstanding Employer Award. And that award this year, let me first talk about what the award does. This award is named the Brad Lancaster Second Chance Outstanding Employer Award in honor of Brad Lancaster, who was actually an originating member of Second Chance Tucson. He worked as a recruiter for Jim Click Automotive and was very passionate about providing returning citizens with employment opportunities. He was a young man who unexpectedly passed in 2017. This year, we received nominations from a number of companies who believe in the mission to provide a second chance to returning citizens. And we are proud to present this year's award to Able Refrigeration. Able is a family-owned business that's providing HVAC services in Tucson for the past 47 years. As the owner of Able Refrigeration, Ron Hull has shown a true commitment to the second chance movement. The majority of his employees are returning citizens, and the employee opportunities that he has provided have been life-changing for these individuals. Able Refrigeration was nominated for the award by Mary Palma at Pima County One Stop, who's had a long working relationship with Ron. Here's a quote from the nomination for Able. Quote, Able Refrigeration encourages their employees to continue their education, provide opportunities for advancement, and believes everyone deserves a second chance. So, you know, one of the things, of course, we like is that when these folks do these kind of things and step up, we want, as a community, support them. So, you know, if your HVAC goes out, come this summer, think of Able. But with that, we want to show you a video where we gave Ron Hull, the owner of Able Refrigeration, his award, and then we can listen, just he's very brief with his words, to his acceptance speech.
Hello, my name is Danny Howe with Second Chance Tucson. We're here to give the award, the employment award for Second Chance Tucson to Able Refrigeration for his efforts in hiring people with criminal backgrounds. By his offers of employment has helped them grow tremendously in Pima County and be successful in our community.
Hello, my name is Mary with the Pima County One Stop OJT coordinator with PEP. And Ron, I'd like to, on behalf of the Second Chance program, I'd like to present you with this award. And again, thank you so much for believing in giving all our clients a second chance.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. It's an honor to receive this award. Our company has been in business since 1973. We've been one of the first women-owned businesses in town, minority. Programs like One Stop with Mary Palma, Second Chance with Karen, and Stella with the Indian Affairs are the start of a new beginning for those people. These agencies have given us the opportunity to work with not just them, but their clients that come to them to make a better life for themselves. There should be more employees that are willing to help. Not only have we changed their lives, they've also changed ours.
All right. Well, thank you for that. You could see Ron was touched by receiving the award, and I'm sure when he got it, he was thinking of some of the people who he's changed their lives, and that's really kind of the personal motivation for doing this kind of work is seeing that kind of impact. So now we're going to move on to talk about a couple of the local programs we have that are model programs for the reentry world. So those two programs are going to be the Pasqua Yaqui Innovative Reentry Program and the Goodwill Adult Reentry Program. And from the Pasqua Yaqui Innovative Reentry Program, let's see how the magic of Zoom works. I'll say the name and see if they appear. Elise Townsend, who is the program facilitator and implementation specialist. There she is for the program. And Veronica Torres, who is a task force member and a peer. And then from Goodwill Adult Reentry Program, which is also known as GARP, I'm sure they think themselves as the world according to GARP, we have Jason Flores, who's the program manager. Jason is coming on. And Nicholas Newmark, who is a program graduate, Nicholas. And Alexandria Almada Fitz, who is also a program graduate. All right. First of all, welcome to all of you. I'm going to start with Elise and just ask Elise if you could briefly describe the PY program and what the program will be doing. So if you can let our audience know what the program's up to and how they can maybe even participate or take advantage.
Perfect. Thank you, Jonathan, for this opportunity, and thanks to Second Chance. So a year back, we had applied for a grant, the Pasqua Yaqui tribe, and we were able to help work on a year of planning. This was an innovative reentry grant, which is really exciting because we get to pull in avenues that mostly didn't have a lot of guidelines. The guidelines that we had to stick with were, we had to actually go in 6 months before they exited prison and start working with them then. So when they came out, when the individuals would come out, they would hit the ground running. So it was super exciting to be able to put that together and be able to help with that organization and that group to be able to do that. The second innovative thing, what we did is there's not a lot of responsibility to be able to classify individuals when they're taken into prison, both federal and state. They do an okay job, but unless someone self-identifies as a specific Pasqua Yaqui member or a Navajo or whatever it is with Native American, they get thrown in one group. And so being able to go into the different prisons and first of all, to go in and actually start the process prior to them getting out, it's taken a lot of collaboration. So the first thing we did was put together a task force that on our task force sets people from the Federal Attorney General's office, the state of Arizona Department of Corrections, you know, everybody we can possibly get on this task force to be able to help us achieve our goals of reaching out, touching these individuals, being able to give them hope, being able to give them the purpose, and being able to add more to their worth, their purpose, and be able to do that. So that's been really exciting. And then the strategy exiting the prison, and being able to have that plan in place and be able to start that reentry program, whether it be whatever their needs are, that type of thing. The other innovative part is we love having task force members that are peers that actually have lived life experience, right? So I'm very honored to be able to sit on that task force with someone that's actually on this call today, Veronica Torres, who will tell us a little bit about her responsibility. But it's an innovative program. It's incredible. It's, you know, we're putting those steps in. It's new, but we feel like we've got the things in place and the team with the task force to be able to make this happen. So thank you.
All right, Veronica, they've given you all of 2 minutes, and I'm going to ask you to tell your personal story and kind of what you're doing with the program. And I'm sure you can do all that in 2 minutes, but do the best you can because we really want to hear from you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, my name is Veronica Torres. I'm a criminal justice coordinator for Puente, and I'm also on the Pasqua Yaqui Reentry Task Force, as Elise stated, and I'm also formerly incarcerated. I served 25 years in prison. I was 14 when I went in, and I have been out a year. When I went to prison, in hindsight now, I can tell you that there was no meaningful like programs, no meaningful like education, no mentors, nothing that could help someone prepare to be out. And that happened for the bulk of the time that I was there. And of course, within that time frame, I saw a lot of my friends and peers, you know, coming back. And, you know, with someone who, you know, during that time frame, you know, didn't have an out date, I always wondered, you know, why did you come back? Like, what happened? And, you know, as Brandon mentioned, there's individual things that people have to get through. And then there is, you know, walking through life with humanity and people and trying to figure out how that communication works and how do we thrive together. So trying to tell this story with meaning, and then quickly, I did end up with time having struggles with my legal work. I ended up getting my paralegal certification, not meaning to, but just trying to understand the legal work. And then that kind of just happened. In terms of an education, I at one point learned how to understand the different degrees of education, and that smart means that you can be smart at some things and not all things. I thought that when I hit the yard, you know, because being a 14, 15, 16-year-old, 17-year-old kid hitting, you know, the main yard with the adults, I didn't know if I was even going to be able to have a conversation because I thought I would like not be able to keep up. And then, you know, there was just a lot of different influences on me and who was trying to mold me to be, you know, this way, that way. And I questioned everything. And got in trouble along the way because I bucked. I wanted, you know, growing up, I think we all did as teenagers, wanted to find out who we were. And I did that, and I did that in a way without any real guidance. So I got into trouble along within those 25 years. But with that also came the picking up the books, learning the law, learning my history, learning about the economy, learning about the culture, and learning about what was absent in my life and what is it that I needed, and talking to my peers and understanding what it is that they needed. We ultimately created a mentorship program on the inside, much like what Brandon said. We decided once the person walks on the inside, this is how we get them initially and tell them, get ready for your release, not to stay. And this was outside of anyone helping us with this. This was just peer to peer and us doing it, going out on the yard and whatever. When I was preparing to be released, I did reach out to the Pasqua Yaqui tribe. A change in law allowed me to get out. And so out to the Pasqua Yaqui tribe to see if they had any resources that I can utilize, because I am Yaqui and Mexican. And they sent a director in to do an assessment and accept me, and they ultimately accepted me into their Centered Spirit program. Since my release, Pasqua Yaqui has helped me get my full stack web development certification. They've helped me with medical to get enrolled. They've helped me with spiritual cleansing. They have helped me with, they provide me 24-hour counseling support if it's needed. Through the Centered Spirit, the workforce program, they're helping me, the educational side of Pasqua Yaqui is helping me to complete my bachelor's at the U of A, where I will start as a junior at the School of Social and Behavioral Sciences for E-Society and Information. They sent me to driving school, invited me to be part of the Reentry panel. And then also during that time frame, as Elise mentioned, we met. She has been a strong source of support and a solid mentor and friend. If this type of program, Pasqua Yaqui has always had the capability to offer these things, and so it's pretty cool to be a part of the process of formulating a program that is going to be able to help my peers, and that they asked me to be a part of that is pretty amazing. I'm thankful. So that's it.
Well, we're gonna have some time for some questions, and
Okay.
I didn't fully realize that you had gone to prison at 14 and did 25 years. Your story is amazing. And in fact, the first comment we got in was somebody said, "Seen Veronica in here. I know this must be an amazing program." So you've got some friends and supporters in the audience. We also had a comment, which I'm sure is being addressed. Folks would like to have your contact information for both programs, so we'll make sure to get that out to everybody. If we don't already have it, make sure we get it. Okay, so let's go to the Goodwill program. Jason, if you could briefly describe the program, the services provided, maybe the impact and scope of the people you've been able to reach, and some of the highlights.
Sure. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Second Chance Tucson. It's a great honor to be here, to be part of this with all these amazing people doing these amazing things. Here at Goodwill, the Adult Reentry Program, this is our first foray into the adult side of things. We've done quite a bit in terms of young adult. And so we are getting into year 3 of a 3-year grant, U.S. Department of Labor through Goodwill International. Super proud and pleased to say that to date we've kind of met all of our objectives from a statistical standpoint. But really what this program is about, and I think you'll hear it with Alexandria and Nicholas here, who thankfully have joined us today. It's about impacting lives. Brandon had mentioned, regardless of what that role is, regardless of what we do to help people along this path, that's what we endeavor to do. Yes, we have guidelines, we have structure. We've enrolled 116 folks, and we work day in and day out providing, basic needs assistance, case management, hands-on, in-depth case management, job placement services, work experience, occupational skills training, certifications, but so much of it is about being flexible and meeting people, where they are, and trying to figure out how it is that we can take that next step. We have two amazing case managers, Mati Cantero and Lisa Larrabee, who just do they're about the mission, and they do a tremendous job of really kind of rolling up the sleeves and connecting with folks. And then it comes, and I just want to give all the credit, to the folks who are in the program, and the hard work, and the dedication that they have to their futures. As we've heard, encountering all these systems, and the multiple challenges, the multiple layers that are faced there, that's no small task on a daily basis, and it can become frustrating. And I just feel like so much credit needs to be given to folks who are navigating that path and who don't give up and have the courage to continue to come back, maybe when a door is closed. Because for the general population out here, I don't think people realize how challenging that is. And so having something like Second Chance Tucson, having programs like the Pasqua, Yaqui, like the Goodwill, like what Brandon is doing is so important, because these are our neighbors, our family members, and this is our community, and we're all in this together. And I feel like I'm very proud of what Goodwill has done and will hopefully continue to do in terms of making that impact in our community, in the lives of people, and just seeing when you provide those opportunities and you stick in there with folks, just the amazing outcomes that can and do that to come to fruition. So we're in a really good place in terms of the Goodwill program. We hope to sustain it, and we're just proud to be a part of this.
Great. Nicholas, Alexandria, whoever wants to go first, but if you could tell us just for a few minutes about your personal story and how the Goodwill program has helped. Nicholas, why don't you go first?
All right. My name is Nicholas Newmark. I was incarcerated for 5 years for possession charge. When I got out, I didn't have very much guidance and know what to do with my life, but I saw a flyer for the Goodwill GARP program, and I signed up, and ever since then, my life has been on the best trajectory possible. Lisa and Maddie and Jason and all the rest of the people in the GARP program have been supportive. They've helped me with clothes, just being there for me when I need advice, someone to talk to, guidance, pointing me in the right directions for the resources that I need to be successful. I'm proud to say right now, I'm back in touch with my kids. I got a full-time job. I've opened my own business up, and the GARP program really helped me get that footing in life and the support that I needed very desperately.
Okay, Alexandria.
Well, my name is Alexandria Amada Fitz, and I was incarcerated for 5 years in the federal system. And in that time, you kind of get the mindset of preparing for your release. And you have to hit the ground running, but you don't really know how to go about it when you finally, get free. I got involved with the GARP program, and they have provided me all the resources that I needed. In orientation process, I did get a full-time job, but there's just so much more than just a job. There's housing, and there's other programs furthering your education, things like that. I have support from my family, but sometimes even with the love and the support, they just don't know how to help you. So that's where this program took full swing, and they just, they're there for me. I call when I need answers to just the most simplest questions. And it's really important. It's really important in your reentry and just being successful, because it's hard. It really is hard. When people go out there and they go and they have their full-time jobs, like they work hard, but as a felon, like I feel we work twice as hard. So it's just nice to have the back and the support of people who know our situations, are familiar with it, and have resources, and they have things to kind of fall back on. I mean, it's programs like this is just amazing, and it's life-changing.
Great, Alexandria, really appreciate it. Okay, we've got some questions that folks want to ask. This one I think is probably to the two program managers. How is co-enrollment coordinated with the WIOA adult programs through Arizona at Work? Do either Elise or Jason, do either of you work with those programs? Jason?
Whenever I can just, whenever possible, whether it be WIOA or any other training program, any additional resource, we try to be that conduit to make sure that all these resources are presented and made available to folks in our program. And then co-enrollment, to provide those wraparound services. No one program can do everything. We need to collaborate, as has been mentioned. Without it, we're just working in silos and we're not doing the best we can for the folks in our programming. So yeah, oftentimes that's a case manager reaching out, figuring out what the enrollment process is, getting everything in order, and then making that handoff. So yeah, we definitely encourage it, whether it be WIOA or any other resource.
Elise?
Yeah, and I totally agree with what Jason said. You have to utilize the resources that are out there are incredible, and then the gaps, you just fill in the gaps, right? With hands-on, one-on-one type coaching and being able to help and to be able to make that happen. So yes, we do. We utilize all the other resources. Plus, then we've created some opportunities for us then to be able to follow through with some things. So.
Great. And then we had another question, which I think will go to Elise. Is there a program like what's been created for the Pasqua Yaqui for the Hopi? Do you know?
No, actually, we are in the process of being able to take this program. We were notified by the Bureau of Justice that they're looking at our program that we've created as being an evidence-based practice for nationwide. So they're watching us very closely. This is one of the first programs for the Native American tribes reentry, and they've got a lot of, they're putting a lot of pressure on us to do great things. So really excited about this opportunity, but we would love to talk with those individuals because there's some grants coming up in January and February that we would be more than happy to help with. So.
And I think there was a question up about from Pinal County asking how Second Chance Tucson could be replicated in Pima County. And I'll just say that we'll get our folks in touch with who asked that question. We can talk about partnering because that's certainly something Second Chance wants to do. Now, I'd like to go to the peers. And I think I'm going to go with this question, which is this. If you could say one thing to employers about how they would benefit from giving someone a second chance, what would that be? Veronica, why don't we start with you again?
The benefit is a perspective that it's just a unique perspective. There's a different, when someone has done time, there's a I don't know how to answer. Will you ask the question again as I think about this?
Sure. The question is just, what would you say? We've got a number of employers out in the audience. What would you say to them about why they should give someone a second chance?
They work hard. I don't want to knock someone who hasn't been locked up, but they do work harder because they have more to lose. They don't want to go back to prison. They don't have just their family to answer to. They have a lot of people answering to them, and they know that their boss is going to be looking at them. And not just that, people, I think there's a stigma that, people that are incarcerated aren't capable. They're very capable. They're smart. And And if they have the client interface, I'm pretty sure that these people will be able to, you know, understand your clients immediately and be able to accommodate them just by understanding what their needs are going to be. Because there's a different, I don't want to say different, but from my experience and with some of my peers and working with them, there's a different degree of like empathy and insight that could be gained and help you make money. So I'm just saying.
Absolutely. Alexandria, what would you say to employers about why folks should get a second chance?
Again, they just work so hard. We work so hard. We have a lot to prove. And sometimes it's not to the outside world, but it's to ourselves and it's to our family. And again, to like our parole and our probation officers, the sky's the limit. And we've sat stagnant enough time to, you know, to now that we're here, we just kind of hit the floor running and we just want to succeed. There's no room for failure anymore.
Okay, and Nicholas?
What I have to say about that is you definitely be taking the best route possible. People that have been incarcerated, they need this opportunity for change. And an employer giving somebody that opportunity, that worker is going to give 110% every day, no matter what, not only because of the opportunity that was presented to them, but they want to change and they need this shot. That's what I would say.
Okay, and then we have a question, again, addressed to the peers, which is, what's been your biggest challenge or barrier or struggle in the reentry process, and how have you worked to overcome it? We'll start maybe with whoever looks like they're ready. Nicholas, what's been your biggest struggle and how have you overcome it?
You know, my biggest struggle has been, oh man, just being patient. You know, ever since I got out, I've been in this rush to hurry up and get on my feet, get a house, get a car, you know, be in a position where I can see my children and have a place for them. I think patience has been the hardest one, but, you know, I've been out for a year, a little over a year, and my life is going amazing. And I guess the thing that I had to learn the most was to believe in myself.
Yeah, okay. Either Alexandria or Veronica, biggest struggle, how are you working to overcome it?
Well, the biggest struggle for me has got to be the paper trail. The paper trail and just how people perceive you, just looking at your background and not really giving you face value. So how I have triumphed over that is just perseverance. And you really just really need a positive support system, a positive support net. And, you know, all things are possible. All things are possible.
No, I mean, I think one of the things we're hearing today is about, you know, people have to at some point find their own path to wanting to, you know, not get in trouble again. But without those support systems that people give, you know, those support systems can make all the difference. I think that's exactly right, Alexander. So I'm going to read this from somebody, and we'll get the message to you afterwards. But it says, Veronica, when I was your teacher at juvenile, I always knew you had a good soul. I wasn't wrong, and I wish you well as you continue your amazing journey. I know you will continue to be an important part of this community. Let me know if you ever need anything from me. So there you go. You may remember Eva Dong, so she sent you that message. A lot of these questions are really about general questions about what programs are available in the community. And so we're going to get back to everybody on that. Let's just maybe take a couple into the program directors. How about two things, either faith-based programs or programs specifically for women? Elise or Jason or peers. Do you know of those kind of programs? And how do we connect up with them?
I can just quickly say we've had a lot of really good success and a lot of great collaboration with GAP Ministries. Their culinary program, they're just restarting their automotive program. We've had a number of folks come through us, and we talked about co-enrolling. That's something we've done there, and we share a similar mission and approach. So I'd put that out there. They have cohorts, if you will, for the culinary and the automotive program. So I'd shout them out a little bit.
Okay. Let me ask this next question to both of you. In either of your programs, have you been able to arrange where if people donate, they can get a tax credit or nonprofit deduction? Elise?
Yes, so the Pasqua Yaqui tribe and that group definitely, I'm almost positive that there can be a donation to the tribe to be able to do it. The program is a grant that we're getting from the Bureau of Justice Administration. But a good resource, we utilize Second Chance Tucson, and donations to Second Chance Tucson also allow us to be able to offer services that possibly, we talked about that, Jason and I did earlier, about, there are things you can partner with, that there are resources out there, but there are also some gaps. There's those gaps where people fall into, like, we don't have an official women's program, but Second Chance Tucson is one of those that could help with that piece, right? So I think that's always a good resource, a source to be able to donate to, is Second Chance Tucson, because of the work that they're doing with individuals on employment specific. So.
And is that also true, Jason and Elise, for tax credits for jobs? How does that work if you give somebody a job? Elise?
Yeah, so the tax credits for jobs, it is actually, there are individuals at Second Chance that will help you if you have a company that's looking for those tax credits. There are individuals with Second Chance Tucson that can sit with you and show you how to complete that paperwork for your corporation to be able to receive those tax credits, the WOTC, so federal program.
Great. So I'm kind of personally overwhelmed by the questions we're getting so we're going to capture all these and get back to you, because this is of so much help. Questions about what programs are out there for people who have issues getting their license due to restrictions and fines. And certainly there are several programs for having folks' rights reinstated. Questions about continuum of care post-release, questions about getting together with Phoenix and putting a program together up there. So this is just really great feedback for all of us. Asking about programs that liaison for employer-employee issues when that's going on, and really essentially what are all those resources in one place and putting that together. But before we close this portion of the program, I do want to read one more comment. And again, the folks that just said thank you, thank you for being here. This is not a question, just a comment. I'm a member of the Pasqua Yaqui tribe and a newly hired peer support aide for the Supportive Employment Program. I'm excited to hear about our new program. Coming from a felon and a person who has many doors shut and a person in recovery, it is so inspiring to see others who have grown so much with such a difficult past. So again, thank you. And we're going to capture all those questions. We're going to get back to you, because this is a great opportunity for all of us to expand our coalition and do even greater work. So I want to thank Elise and Jason and Veronica and Alexandria and Nicholas, and especially the three peers for telling your stories. That can never be easy, and I can see the emotion in all of your voices, but it's so important to be that role model and to let the employers see what can happen. And so I want to thank you for joining us today. With that, again, thank you. Again, the virtual clap. And there you go. And then we will move on then to the next award, which is the program award for the program that has been really successful. And I get a little embarrassed and humble when I see that this program was named in my honor, but I'm going to give it out because those programs that are out there doing this work are so important. And so I'm really pleased to be honored in that way. So this award honors the local program or a local program that has demonstrated a community impact and reentry by helping returning citizens through employment, training, or housing. We received, again, several nominations for programs doing outstanding work, and we are honored this year to present the award to the Goodwill Industries of Southern Arizona, and specifically the Goodwill Adult Reentry Program, whom we've just heard from. This program has provided employment services to individuals who are recently released from prison, assisted them in successful transitioning back into the community, and just in the past 2 years, GARP has been able to connect 116 individuals to employment. Here's a quote from the nomination highlighting the Goodwill Award. Quote, Goodwill's sincere interest in caring about returning citizens, as well as developing a program and implementing the doing, has assisted so many with a more successful reentry back into society and finding gainful employment. So we're now going to watch a video featuring some GARP program graduates and the GARP team accepting the award. So we can roll it.
I was incarcerated for 5 months and was released on probation and was having a lot of trouble finding employment. So I went through the GARP program and was able to attend the GAP culinary school with them, and I graduated, and that helped me get employment at the Bisbee Breakfast Club where I now work.
I did 29 months. Right now I'm working in Charles Steak. I went through a culinary program.
My experience on finding employment was challenging at first, but thankfully to the people here at Goodwill, they were able to help me find employment, full-time employment. What I would say to employers that are skeptical of hiring people with a background is they're the best kind of workers because they have life experience and they know what's valuable in life.
Give us a chance that there are some that want to change their lives and make their lives better.
So we just want to say thank you. We are extremely honored with all the great programs and entities and partners out there doing the very valuable reentry work in our community. We are thrilled and honored that we'd be selected. Our success, any success we've had, comes down to our staff, their dedication, their commitment to the work, to the people whom we serve and their lives and making a positive impact in their lives. And then of course our participants, it comes down to them. They're the ones doing the work. They have the courage to get up every day, do the best they can, take on the challenges, and there are many, for reentering our community from incarceration, and they deserve all the credit. And to all of you out there on that journey, keep up the fight. Keep up the good work. We're in this together. We'll get there. So thank you again on behalf of Goodwill and the GARP program. We appreciate it.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Thank you, GARP. Thank you, Pasqua, Yaqui, and thank you, Brandon, for presenting today. what you've seen today, I really want to thank everyone who's been here. We had a great turnout, great participation, and we know we all have a role in reducing stigma and creating an environment that encourages success. Reducing recidivism is a critical community goal, and Tucson, as we know, has the kind of people who can make that goal achievable. The comments we've had today, the connections we've had today is going to give us plenty of work to do and plenty of reason to strengthen our coalition and do the things that need to be done at whatever level they need to be done to assist as many people as we can in the community. The next Second Chance Job Fair, the Job and Resource Fair, will be held virtually. And stay tuned for more information by visiting www.secondchancetucson.org. That's www.secondchancetucson.org. And we'll be getting out notices to everybody who participated today. If you were inspired at all by what you saw today, Second Chance Tucson is a nonprofit organization. And we would appreciate if you could consider making a donation to Second Chance Tucson to help us continue the work that we are doing with justice-involved individuals for successful reintegration. We look forward to expanding our partnerships and working with all of those who want to continue this work, whether it be a governmental, faith-based, or a nonprofit. So again, I want to thank you all for helping make this a success today. We look forward to seeing you all again soon. And you know, the virtual world works. So we'll look forward to doing more, but we really hope to see you all in person soon. So thank you again for being with us. Take care and be safe.